One topic I love to talk about is business and entrepreneurship, which is what today's episode is all about. My guest is a seasoned educator and coach who focuses on helping creative entrepreneurs grow their businesses. Based in Florida, Nata has built multiple six-figure businesses and takes pride in mentoring entrepreneurs and other creatives to achieve their own success. Her journey from physical therapy to photography and now coaching underscores her belief in hard work, a strong mindset, and the power of pursuing one's passions. Through her platform, Accidental CEO, she shares her journey from a novice to a successful entrepreneur, offering insights and guidance on building a profitable business venture. Her approach blends practical business strategies with mindset strategies, aiming to empower creatives to achieve financial success while pursuing their passion. Today, we talk about the importance of confidence when building a business, barriers to confidence and how to overcome these, how to set boundaries for your business, being a leader rather than a dictator, navigating challenges and setbacks in business, confidence building techniques, Accidental CEO, the app, and one on one coaching with Nada. This episode is amazing for people in all stages of entrepreneurship, whether you've been in business for a while or just starting out or haven't started yet but are working up the confidence to do so. That all being said, I am very excited to welcome Nata Salvatori to the show. Let's start out talking about your background now a little
Yeah.
bit. How you got started in the coaching and specifically for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I have a previous career in healthcare. So I was a doctor of physical therapy for about 10 years. And part of that career will include a lot of teaching and coaching in general. So I've always trained physical therapists on the field and I've taught at the university level. I spoke at conferences for many years. So that part of me was has always been there. And it was always something that I really enjoy. So as I became a serial entrepreneur, I kept finding friends coming to me asking for, asking questions about the logistics of business and mindset and stuff like that. So I thought, why not bring that part of my life back that I was really missing, to be able to teach and coach and mentor people and kind of marry that with the skills that I had in business strategy and mindset. So that's basically how the coaching kind of came along in the last few years.
A lot of the what you talk about in your coaching is the importance of confidence in building a business and creating a success as an entrepreneur. So can you touch on that a little bit, like how that is important and why?
Oh my gosh, for so many reasons. There's so many things that are affected by confidence in your business. So, as a business owner, obviously, you're going to have to be building an identity for your company and your products and the services that you're offering. Um, Infusing that with confidence from the beginning makes a huge difference. People that are more confident or more willing to speak up, talk about their product or service, be in the room with other people and network and I allow that brand to kind of be known in your area. And there's a lot of decision making that can be backed up with good confidence. You're more likely to take calculated and smart risks when you're more confident as well, more willing to collaborate with other people. From a leadership standpoint, confidence really it's a huge skill to add to your leadership. Obviously, if you are not confident in what you have to offer, why would other people be, right? So
Mhm.
it has a huge impact on business ownership in general, and is something that a lot of people do struggle with. When we're starting this journey into entrepreneurship, a lot of times we're solopreneurs, we're starting this alone, and there's a lot of doubt and a lot of self esteem issues that come with starting a whole new business. A lot of times, on an area that we do have the skill for the day to day work, but we have no knowledge or training on everything else that you need to be a business owner,
Mhm.
right? The
Yeah.
financials, the understanding the accounting, the marketing, and everything else that comes with running a business. So your confidence can really take a hit. So it's important to really constantly work on that and pay attention to that as a business owner. So whenever it comes time for decision making and growth, that part of you, that confidence muscle is well worked and strong.
Yes. And on the contrast of that too, you talk about the barriers of confidence. So things like imposter syndrome, fear of failure, negative self-talk, and how some entrepreneurs may have everything, they may have like all these pieces that could make a success, but they have this one piece that is maybe childhood trauma or some other trauma that they've gone through that is maybe holding them back. So, can you talk a little bit about those barriers? And for someone, if they do feel like they have things in their past, do you recommend like therapy, or what are some things that you do with your clients to help them overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think it's important to take some time to really try to analyze where are the barriers and the issues that you're dealing with really coming from. You might think that you're just having a lead problem, you're not getting enough clients. And at the end of the day, we really dig into things, there's a money mindset issue. And maybe there's a self-confidence issue where you believe that you really don't deserve to be making a lot of money, or you think that if you do make a lot of money, you're going to lose the friends that you have right now because you're going to be in a whole different world and category. So 100% recommend talking to a therapist if you feel like that's really highly, holding you back. But I think there's small steps you can take on your own too to start working on those three areas that you mentioned. I think confidence is definitely something that you build. It's not something you're born with.
Mhm.
It's something you can learn and you can exercise. And I really talk about often with my clients about paying attention to those small things and help and just grabbing onto those small things to help build your confidence in general. So small wins, celebrating small wins, looking at facts. People say, "Oh, I'm terrible with tests. I never pass any test that I take." I was like, "Well, did you drive here?" Yeah, well, then that's proof right there that you can
Mhm.
take a test and pass. You pass your driving test. So we say things very often that are not based in fact, and we are really good at putting ourselves down. So I tell people to focus on, those little wins and kind of just take a little time to feel how it feels to win, to have a good outcome on something, to feel confidence on a decision that you made or a result that you had, and really build on that feeling and continue to take, bigger challenges and more impactful decisions that are going to help you build that muscle a little bit more when it comes to confidence. The second thing you talk about is the fear of failure, right? So super important to recognize that it's just part of anything in life, really, not just
Mhm.
running a business. Like we're gonna make mistakes, we are going to fail. We have this inherited need to do right and be accepted and not fail because of, if you think about way back when cavemen were around, you needed to be part of a community, of a group to survive. Surviving alone was just not a thing. So that part of like making sure that you're belonging, that you feel like you belong to a group, and that you're not making mistakes. Mistakes were things that cost your life, and it still do, but a lot more back then, right? So our body is hardwired to not be okay with these things. So it's easy to say, "Oh, don't worry about it, just move on to the next thing." But I truly believe you need to recognize the feeling, understand where it's coming from, and then work to connect that with the next lesson, right? What is coming up next from this failure? What can I learn from it? We all heard it. We need to learn from things, but really start looking at them as feedback and not so much as failures. So if I did something and it didn't work out, what part of it can I change again in the future? Do I need to completely change my approach to this? Do I need to just change parts of it? Like, can I try it again and get a different response based on who did I try that with or how did I communicate it? There's so many factors that you can analyze, and just start looking at that more as feedback and less as failure makes a huge difference when it comes to that. And then the last thing you mentioned there is the negative self talk, right?
Mhm.
So as humans, I feel like we're we're great at that.
Oh,
So
yes.
easy, right? To put
Yes.
ourselves down and to down talk our potential. So I usually walk my clients through the process of just start thinking of yourself as maybe you're the child version of yourself, right? Or maybe somebody that you really admire. Would you ever talk to that person in this way? Would you ever say to your mentor, well, that was really stupid. I'm stupid. I don't, you don't know what you're doing. You're stupid. Why would you do something like that? Like, that is not something you would say to somebody you admire. So, why would you be willing to use those harsh words on yourself? And you've definitely not say that to a child. I hope you wouldn't say
Right.
that to a child, right? To the child version of yourself that is trying so hard to be successful. So, every time there's some good exercises out there. Every time you think about or even say it out loud something negative about yourself, immediately stop the thought and give 2 to 3 things of why you do deserve the accomplishment to come through, or why you are a good insert whatever you do here,
Mhm.
or why you should still be respected even though you made this mistake, or why it's okay to make mistakes along the way. So just, insert some positives in there and sort of change that self talk. Again, all of these things are habits that you can work on. Negative self talk is a huge one. People do it all the time. And it's something that, again, just like confidence, just like seeing failures as feedback, are all things that if you take the time and really put an effort into it, you can change. It's just like learning how to run, just like riding a bike. It's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy because it's not. Sometimes it might take a few years for you to get there. But once you understand the power of controlling those things, it's such a change in your life and your business. It's such a weight lifted from you because you're not slave to those things anymore. So very important skills to work just as much as any other business skills for your company.
Absolutely. And I know another thing that some business owners struggle with, and I myself have struggled with in business. I was a wedding photographer for 7 years, and I've seen my husband struggle with this in his business as well, and that is setting boundaries in your business. It's something that I think a lot of people are unfamiliar with, especially when it comes to maybe like family and friends and different things like that. So, is that something that you can touch on a little bit about just setting boundaries in your business and how important that is?
Yeah, I think first of all, I like to recognize that everybody's different and what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. So I've always been somebody who it's okay with getting text messages from my clients at any time of the day. It does not mean I'm going to respond to them, but I have no problem with them texting me at 8:30 at night during the week. But again, they know that they will get an answer whenever I'm ready to answer them. I'm not going to take
Mhm.
away family time or interrupt a dinner with, a friend because I got a text from my clients, but they do know that they have the ability to reach out to me if they need to. That absolutely does not bother me, but it will bother some other people. And they have to make it very clear to their clients that 5 o'clock is the cutoff point for communication. Do not text me. I won't even give you my cell phone number. I don't want that in my life right now. And that's also okay. So we are all built differently. And the important part is really to understand what works for you. So taking the time to see, is this kind of behavior triggering me in any way? Is it keeping me from enjoying dinner with my family? Is it keeping me from feeling like I have a separation between my personal life and my work life? And if the answer is yes, then yeah, go ahead and start working on some boundaries around that. But normally, things that I work with my clients with is basically communication upfront. Like, let your clients know what to expect from you. It's
Mhm.
100% okay to have whatever kind of boundaries you decide to have. What is not okay is to do a poor job communicating that to your client and creating frustration on the back end, right? So a
Yes.
lot of discontent comes from people's inability to communicate upfront and
Mhm.
set expectations. So whatever your boundaries are, make sure you're communicating that with both your family and friends and your clients, so people understand where their space starts and end,
Mhm.
and you feel less obligated to be constantly catering to people because you communicated up front. Have it in writing, have your boundaries out in writing when it comes to working with your clients. So that can be something you send on a contract, or and then emphasize it on maybe a first follow-up email, because we all know people do not read contracts, right?
Yes. Yes.
So making sure they emphasize that verbally and in written communication what the expectations are. And I feel like that already decreases a lot of just frustration in general for you and for your client.
Yes, all great things, 'cause I've no like, I do this in my personal life too, and, for so long that I in different situations, I would just want people to just know my boundary, and I wasn't communicating it,
Yeah, yeah,
And so it's crazy what happens when like you said, communication is everything. If you communicate that boundary, then, people will respect it, hopefully, but, but if you don't communicate it, how are they supposed to know that? So
yeah.
that's great.
It's amazing how many things good communication can solve.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So, I want to switch gears a little bit here and talk more about how to be a good leader
Mhm.
and how you want to be a good leader rather than a dictator, and what the negatives are of being more of a dictator role, in a business. And so, how to like shift out of that if you are someone who is in more of like this dictatorship, you know, uh, maybe not treating their employees or just people in their business very fairly, and how to shift out of that and be more of a fair, respected leader in your business.
Yeah, I think first of all, those people are probably not even going to recognize that that's what they're doing. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be doing it.
Mhm.
But just being in such a controlling mindset all the time, what really does is just it drains your energy. It's hard
Mhm.
to micromanage and constantly control everything and not trust your employees and not treat them well. It is emotionally taxing. It's hard to do. So if you're one of those people that are constantly feeling exhausted as a leader, that's probably one of the things that you should look into, is that how much am I trusting my team to get things done without me having to constantly be spending my energy on the same tasks that they were supposed to be taking care of. So I think from great leadership, usually what you can expect are things like, again, great communication, right? So
Mhm.
you know what is expected from you. You know where the parameters are for the tasks that I delegate to you. What is the goal? What is the end result? I shouldn't really care how is it done as long as you get to the result that we want you to get to.
Mhm.
I need to make sure that you have the resources you need to complete that task. So I speak a lot on delegation, and that's a huge thing, like making sure that the person that you're assigning the task to actually have the resources and the knowledge to complete that task. And if they don't, are they the right person to assign that task, or do you need to provide the resources on top of the specifics for that task? I think motivating the people that work with you is another huge thing when it comes to leadership, understanding how can you connect the job that they're doing with their personal goals, because at the end of the day we're all selfish beings. I want to know what's in it for me
Mhm.
as an employee. Like, what am I going to gain by completing this task? Is this something that I need to put a lot of my effort and energy into? How important is this task? And so if you help connect that person's interest in personal goals and growth plan into the tasks that they're assigned to, that would make a huge difference in their ability to really buy into that task and put a huge effort into it. So taking the time to really get to know your team, what are their aspirations and goals and things they're excited about, and then try to connect that with the tasks and the roles that they're assigned to. Again, that makes a huge difference on the buy-in and the culture of a team in general.
Mhm.
Understanding that you do have to let go of things and tasks to be able to grow your business. To put that CEO hat, you need time. You need time to ideate and to be a visionary. And you cannot do that if you're doing all the minute tasks of a day to day, business management. So letting go of that control in a organized and systematic manner to build a team that's going to support you, I think it helps you make a good leader.
Yes. Yeah, and just to add to that, I my husband, this is something that he does really well in his business that I've noticed is he is a great leader in the sense that when he's on the job site, it's like the whole crew is just in a different energy. And it's because he brings a great positive energy to the job
Yeah.
site and he comes off as like I'm down in the dirt with you guys. Like, let's do this. If you need help, I got you, you know? Like, it's not like "Oh, I'm the business owner and I'm looking down on you peasants and you better work while I'm gonna sit here on my butt." And so, I think that that is probably a huge thing too when being a leader is just having that energy with your team.
Yeah, delegating and supporting,
Yes.
just being there for support and feedback and praise. Oh my gosh, celebrate your
Mhm.
wins with your team. That's such an important thing too, like to keep people motivated and excited about, doing the work.
Yes.
Celebrate the small wins with them too.
Yes, absolutely. So on top of that, I want to talk about navigating challenges. So this could be setbacks within the business, financial, productivity, negative reviews, or just lack of growth. And so I want to talk about how you coach clients on that. You know, when they are having to go through these challenges and struggles in their business and they're just kind of like not seeing a way out of it.
Yeah, so a lot of times what I do is I combine some data with some mindset. That's kind of the secret sauce, I feel like, for problem result. I feel like you need to recognize the problem. If you need, take 5 to 10 minutes to be upset about it, and then let's move on to on to solving the problem, right? So if you sit with the problem for too long, is not helping you, it's not helping your company, it's not helping the clients.
Mhm.
So let's recognize it, let's analyze it. What is causing it? Where is what is the root cause of the problem? And to do that, a lot of times you need to be able to track data and look at data. And as business owners, a lot of times I find out people hate numbers. They don't want to track anything. They don't want to look at it. They have this feeling of this is not going well, or this is
Mhm.
not doing well, or this is a problem. But sometimes when we take the time to really dig into things and look at the data, what we find out is something completely different. It's either it didn't have anything to do with the problem that they thought they had, or the problem's actually coming from a different place. There's a different place on the flow of tasks, or the client experience. So I'm a huge fan of being objective. So combining that objective data with some mindset, a good mindset shift. So recognize the problem, understand it, and then let's do something about it. Let's change oh my gosh, this is killing me. I can't do anything about it, to what is the solution? And I've solved plenty of problems before. There's no proof out there that I cannot solve this problem. This problem is no better than any other problem. I have skills. I can do it. I've done it before. So, let's work on it. So I think it's a good combination of using some objective measures of your business, understanding the problem, and then combining with a good, resilient, and adaptable mindset that's going to take you to that next step.
Mhm. When you say data, what are some of the examples that you can give me of, like, things that you have your clients, like, pull that data from, I
Yeah.
guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So anything from understanding where your clients are coming from, where are the referral sources from your client base? So where are your lead generators?
Mhm,
Are they coming from social media? Are they coming from your website? Are they coming from, personal referrals? If you have a lead generation problem, you need to understand where they're coming from in order to address the problem. I can be putting all my time into social media when at the end of the day, I actually need to be going into networking events and talking to the people around me, because they stopped referring clients to me a year ago and I didn't even realize, that that's where the bleed was coming from. So
mhm,
looking at referral sources, looking at just expenses versus your profit. Like you're looking at your net profit, understanding your expenses, taking a look at, is there anything that I'm kind of wasting money on that I could be consolidating? Just being smart about your expenses is a huge thing. People sometimes are bleeding money. They don't even know
Mhm.
where those expenses are coming from. So taking the time to really write everything down, like how much you're spending every month on things, how much you're spending from an annual standpoint. And then really understanding sometimes how to price their products and their service. What is the minimum amount of money they should be charging to be making money?
Mhm.
Understanding those numbers, understanding your reach on social media, what do things look like? There's so many things when it comes to numbers, but those are
Yeah.
some basic ones that I feel like we look at it very often.
Yeah, those are all great things. And so let's talk more about confidence building and some things that you can do to get yourself out there, get your business out there. And some of the things that I know you've mentioned are public speaking, networking, um, negotiation, and setting goals with long term improvement in mind.
Yeah, so I think starting, with networking is it's an easier one potentially to reach when it comes to just some ways to build confidence. So look at some local events that maybe you can attend to help promote your business. I host personal in-person events myself, and I know there's plenty of other people in town doing it. There's somebody in your town doing it,
So
so
many.
go on social media,
Mhm.
go on websites that share events, even Eventbrite. You can search events there and start finding places where you can go and talk about your business. Start practicing that confidence about sharing your elevator speech, sharing your one liner, and helping people understand what you provide and why are you different than everybody else that provides that.
Mhm.
And if you don't know that yet, that's a great way to discover. Start talking to people, and you might even hear from some people, "Oh, that's so different. You do such and such that is different than all the other podcasters I've ever heard of before."
Yeah,
So,
it's such a boost because I know in my experience
yeah.
with networking events, when I was first starting out as a photographer, I was like, "Oh, timid and nervous to be
Mhm.
out in that industry." And, I was nervous to even call myself a wedding photographer. I remember I would say it and I'd kinda, like, cringe a little bit, like, "Ooh, I don't that feels awkward." And when I would go to these events, it would be such a boost because people would be like, "Oh my gosh, let me see your work." And then, you show 'em your
Mhm.
work and they're like, "This is amazing." And you're like, "Oh, okay, cool. So you think so, which means maybe other people are." So it is such a confidence boost.
Yeah, it's such a power to speak it out loud, right? So to go
Yes.
somewhere and if you even if you're starting your business, so let's say this is a very new business and you still don't see yourself as that, definitely go to an event where you don't
Mhm.
know anybody and introduce yourself as the wedding photographer or the podcaster or the coach, whatever it is. Introduce yourself
Yes.
to that. Start speaking it out loud. It's amazing how it changes your behavior and how you feel when you start actually introducing yourself as that and
Mhm.
speaking your vision out loud. So I definitely recommend networking is a huge way to increase your confidence and build that start build your presence in your community. So definitely a huge one. Speaking is not for everybody. A lot of people hate it. It's number one fear before, in front of death. So people prefer to be the ones in the coffin than giving the eulogy most of the time. So it's not for everybody, but if you do feel like you're comfortable speaking, there are a lot of people there that can help you and support you to grow as a speaker. And it is such a huge, again, confidence booster when it comes to help you establish your authority in a certain area. And we all have so much to share. People often get into that imposter syndrome of like, I don't have anything to share. There's other people that know more than me.
Mhm.
Why would I be speaking? Why would anybody here, listen to what I have to say? And we all have so much to share because our knowledge is always paired with our background and our own experiences, and that makes it unique to us. So yeah, there's a gazillion other coaches out there, but nobody can coach like I do because of the combination of my skills and my past experiences. So just remember that.
Yeah. That's great, and, definitely something that I've heard a lot when overcoming my own imposter syndrome is like, yeah, sure, all these people offer it, but they're not you. They don't,
Yeah.
have the same experiences or the same knowledge that maybe you have, and so, yeah, I think that's huge in any business for sure.
Yeah. There's somebody for you out there
Yes,
in the business
absolutely.
world.
Yes. So, let's start talking about accidental CEO and your app. So, if you can go into both of those things, I'm super excited to hear about all of it.
Yeah, so Accidental CEO, it's becoming a bigger brand now. So it started with the coaching and the podcast. So I have a podcast called Accidental CEO where I interview entrepreneurs and kind of help people see that journey of that a lot of us went through of like starting this business maybe accidentally or maybe you got pushed out of your full-time job and decided to give it a try before you apply for another job, and how people actually became very successful and kind of like how they navigated this journey. And obviously there's tons of resources for everybody there, but under that whole brand is where I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. One-on-one coaching is my jam. That's what I really love doing. To me, it's very important to spend the time really understanding what your unique problem is and what your unique context is within, that problem in your company. So I'm a huge fan of one-on-one coaching. And that's really what that brand is all about, is really help people to scale their business to that next level, get unstuck in a way that is going to allow them to be more financially savvy and be able to build a legacy to the people that they love, but also have that life that they're looking for where they're not on the hustle 24/7.
Mhm.
So that's my passion, is really help entrepreneurs achieve that next level in scaling their business. And then the app that is also called Accidental CEO. So I have two apps out there in the world. Accidental CEO app is it's kind of part of that whole brand. And what the app does is it has some mini courses in there that you can consume kind of on the go. One of them is about confidence. It's something that, again, is I think it's very important, and I talk about it a lot. So that's one of our mini courses, and it has some features for like community building and tracking in there too. So that's the whole Accidental CEO brand for the coaching and speaking, the podcast, and the app.
Very cool. And so this app, they can find it on any app store, correct? Like
Correct. Yeah, it's for
Android,
Android
iTunes.
and
Okay.
Apple users. Yeah, you just search Accidental CEO and you find our app.
Awesome. And does it come with a membership, or is this just you get on and purchase as whatever it is that you want to get on?
Yeah, there's a free version of it that you get access to certain parts of the content, and then the price for is 4.99. 4.99 for the year, and you have access to the mini courses. So a very low point of entrance, just again to get more information onto your hands on the go. Because I know we're busy and we don't have time
Mhm.
to sit down on our computer all the time and watch things. So while you wait for your kid, on the car line, or you're waiting for your doctor, and or riding in the car, it's a quick way to just listen to those lessons and watch those lessons. So very easy on the go.
Wow. Okay. I love that because yeah, we are so on the go these days and I love
Hmm.
stuff that's why I love podcasts because I
Yeah.
can plug it in and audibles if I'm wanting to read a book, but I don't have time to like sit down and read a whole book front to back, in a quick manner, but I want to read it and audibles, podcasts, and then this app sounds great for that.
I'm with you, girl. I'm a podcast and book junkie, all audible these
Yes.
days. So very rarely grab something because I'm always working. I'm always on the go. I'm traveling, so I need to be able to listen to things. So
Yes. So, can you touch a little bit more on your one-on-one coaching? Is that all virtual? Do you do in person, or and what does that look like?
Yeah. So I have a signature coaching program that I absolutely love. That is my 2 day intensive program. And what that means is I call it a very productive hostage situation. So that one, I rather do it in person. So I can come to you or you can come to me or we can meet anywhere in between. And what we do is actually get an Airbnb and we get together for 2 full intense days of work. Basically, we are doing a lot of what I talked about earlier. We're looking at your numbers, we're looking at your client experience, we're looking at your goals, and trying to really bring some clarity to how you're going to scale and help you understand what the next steps are. We're going to get some work done while we're still together. And then I'm going to leave you with a good plan that you're going to implement. And we're going to be doing some touch points along the way to hold you accountable. But those 2 days, allow me to really get to know you and your business, allow us to do some good quality, uninterrupted, intense work, and just leave you with a lot of motivation and excitement to transform your business and scale to what you want it to be doing.
I love that hold you hostage for 2 days.
Yes.
That sounds awesome, though. I mean, I feel like that is how, it probably really sticks for people. I mean, that is transformative to
Mhm.
go through something like that for 2
Yeah.
days and an in-person experience at that.
Yeah, and we make it fun. We have intense work, but we are breaking down for meals. We are making sure that we have the energy that we need to go through, but we also have some downtime to talk about life and just to be a visionary and get excited about your business moving forward.
Awesome stuff. So, can you give your website and your social media so anybody listening that's like, "Oh my gosh, hold me hostage," or that just wanna follow you and learn more about you, can you give both of those for everyone listening?
Yeah, absolutely. My website is accidentalceo.co. So no M there at the end, accidentalceo.co. And then on social media, you can find me at accidentalceo.co. On Instagram, same thing on TikTok. We do have a YouTube channel where there's some, good coaching and teaching in there too. You just search Accidental CEO and you'll find us there.
Awesome, and your podcast on all platforms as well, Spotify,
Yeah.
iTunes, everything, and it's just Accidental CEO on that too.
Perfect. Yes, we're taking over the world. We are everywhere. You can run away from me. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, Nada, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on today, and I've loved this episode, so I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Haley, for having me.
Thank you. As always, I appreciate you all so much for listening. My goal is for these episodes to at least help one person in some aspect of their life. So if you like what you hear, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe to the show, as well as follow us on social media at Inside Voice Pod. Thanks.